Yeah, boy, it is that time. It is crunch time after about a 2-week hiatus, and we're flipping the script. We're on to the good stuff, ladies and gentlemen. It is NBA crunch time. It is sponsored by Fanduel, and we are thrilled to be joined by two of the sharpest minds in the biz. One, the one and only. It is Mr. Andy Means in the house. Welcome back.
I'm feeling rusty, Roth. We're on like a new platform.
Yeah.
The show's free now. I don't know what's going on. I'm gonna need you guys to help me out tonight.
Yeah, I think we're gonna do the same thing we always do, which is just give out winners.
That's fine.
So I think we should be good. I think you've already done the hard work, and now you just get to kind of tell the people what to do. We also have STL Cards in the building. Cards, I've been hanging out with you for the last 6 months, and good to see you again. You're a multi-sport specialist.
Yeah, you're excited, Roth. I can hear it in your voice. You're just
It's
so
so
excited
good.
to
It's my favorite
not
part of
have to
every
read
NBA
weather
season.
forecasts for all these games. Not worrying about the 0.04 inches of rain in New York last night. You just don't have to worry about that anymore for a while, which is, I'm sure, a nice welcome respite for you. But yeah, basketball season is always different because the news landscape is just so much of a different dynamic than what you see. NFL, we got injury reports on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and you got a week to get ready. Baseball, you got lineups 3 or 4 hours in advance before every team starts. But basketball, you just got this never-ending news cycle. Not so much tonight, but if you're new to it, this show is probably the most real-time impactful show that we do on the entire RotoGrinders platform, simply because of how much things change in NBA leading right up to lineup lock. And, it gets more chaotic as the season goes along. And I don't know, basketball is a different beast from the other daily fantasy sports. And it's good in a way, and it's frustrating in a way, but it's exciting.
Yeah, and Meansy, you talked about this in your Core Plays article. If you haven't read the Core Plays article, you got to join RG Premium. Make sure you're reading that. Fantastic intro, by the way. I appreciate the shout out, Meansy.
Yes, sir.
But you mentioned that it's constantly evolving as we go through the day. But the reason for the show, like the main reason for Crunch Time, is this sport. It's the last 30 minutes of basketball. And I feel like that's when we're at our best, when it hits the fan. And it may socially be not as good of a show because you're busy trying to figure out what the hell to do with 3 people out and who's plugging in. That's when the show is at its best, and I'm kind of excited for that. Do you agree, Means?
Yeah, for newbies who might be watching, that's like Ross's favorite part is when stuff hits the fan and I'm stressed out, but he's pumped because that means we're going to have an edge.
Yes.
And for people who've been watching for years are probably laughing and agreeing with me. And that's literally, like you said, that's literally why we started Crunch Time on RotoGrinders, is for this NBA DFS sport. So we're gonna keep hammering out winners this year, and we're just gonna. We want to have fun here too. Like, that's the main thing. Like, we'll get to the nitty gritty when news hits, but we want to have fun here too.
Okay, well, cheers to that. I saw you sipping the vino already. My beer's a bit.
Yes, sir. Cheers to anyone out there as well.
Yeah. Cheers. This is like, someone said, is this Kevin Ross' favorite day of the year? Yes, it absolutely is. I'm for those who are watching and don't get it, they're like, whoa, why do they have the weatherman doing basketball?
I haven't got that yet, Roth. We haven't got that person who.
Yeah.
Someone had to reply to the tweet. I haven't looked yet. Someone had to reply. Why do you have the? I guarantee it's happening then. Go ahead.
Yeah. First week of the season, it has to happen.
Always.
I'm a basketball fanatic. I love basketball. I play basketball. I watch basketball. But I still don't give the advice. Like, I am just here as a host. Meansy, Cards, and a whole bunch of other people, experts, are going to be doing that. I'm just here to keep the show on the rails and occasionally take it off the rails. But bottom line is, we're here to give some winners out. I do have to make sure that everyone is aware the NBA is back. FanDuel celebrating here with their $1 million Tuesday NBA Clutch Shot Contest. $5 to win, $5 to enter your chance, $200K to first place. Also, sign up for the FanDuel Sportsbook if you're a legal sports betting state. Take advantage of their fantastic bonus offer. You bet $5, get $150 back in free bets and a free 3-month pass to NBA League Pass, which is really cool as well. So pretty neat promotion that they have going on there at FanDuel. Terms and conditions apply. Also, if you're watching on YouTube, hit that like button. It's free content thanks to FanDuel. And all that we ask is that you hit that like button. It's that easy. With that, I feel it's weird, Meansy. I feel rushed to get to the content, but I shouldn't, right? It's 2 games. I imagine we're going to be okay here time-wise.
Yeah, we'll be okay. And there's, like you said, 2 games. No injury news we're waiting on. Like Lakers have a bunch of probable guys. I'd like to see what they're going to do for their starting lineup. We were joking in our Slack, 25 minutes ago that apparently like Patrick Beverley accidentally released their starting lineup on his podcast. So apparently Russ might be starting tonight. I mean, it's probably just like Russ for Reeves on here. I don't that might get updated here soon, but probably not too many minutes being moved around. But like normally we'd be probably at this point we'd probably be talking about some stuff we'd be looking out for, but really that we're not really looking out for anything tonight. Kind of know what's going on. So I guess if you want me to, I can kind of take it from here and kind of explain what we do if you want.
Yeah, let's do it. Generally, we start with kind of a cash outlook. Meansy, you are primarily a cash player. That's fair to say, right?
Yep. And basketball's a little bit different. I don't know if we have some new people watching who haven't played before, coming over from football or coming over from baseball or playing both. NBA is far more projections oriented than those 2 sports that are much more like correlation oriented. So when I talk about like cash game plays, those are going to be also like really good tournament plays. It's just you have to kind of figure out for yourself and with the help of Cards and whoever else might be in the 3rd seat this year, like what you do with the heavier owned guys. So it's definitely a different beast.
Okay, well, let's start talking about kind of some of the cash builds. If you don't mind, we'll start over on DK and we'll work our way to FanDuel.
Okay, that works for me.
Yep.
Let's see here. So I have 2 guys tagged on DK. And they're both like basically the same price. Horford at 4.9 and Maxey at 5K. So Horford is basically like some of it has to do with Robert Williams being out for a couple months. I mean, I think he averaged like I wrote it in my article this morning. I think he was at like maybe 32 DK points per game in games without Robert Williams last year. And there's foul trouble risk against Embiid, but like Horford's going to kind of play his, low 30s minutes, 30 minutes regardless. Like they're not going to like this isn't somewhere like, oh, we had him projected for 38. He's in foul trouble. Now we're screwed. It's like they're going to keep him managed regardless. So even if he gets in foul trouble, he's probably still going to get to the minutes we have him allotted for. And he's only 4.9. Maxey.
Horford was more productive than I expected last year as well, as like a points per dollar or point per minute basis. Is that supposed to continue? I feel like he's old as dirt, but he did it last year.
Yeah, I mean, and no Williams. So I think, his rebound rate specifically will go up there. But yeah, he stepped out and shot threes more last year too, which helped a ton. Yeah. So especially in the playoffs, that they really utilize that in some of their tougher matchups. So yeah, he's just too cheap, and that's why I got him tagged. And then Maxey, kind of similar. Don't need to talk too much about him, but they're kind of all the buzz coming out of camp is like he just keeps getting better, and he's already really good, and he's only 5K. And the thing about it is he is someone we are counting on for minutes, and he averaged like 35 minutes per game last year, and that's what we have him at tonight. So based on his per minute production, that's kind of why I have him. From there, I probably will just talk about DK construction in general, because it's pretty easy if you're talking about like what kind of optimal build you're doing. And like the next guy in for me is going to be someone like Kendrick Nunn, even if he's not starting, which we're not projecting. He's 3K, and this is a guy who didn't play at all last year, and they needed him because he's like one of the few guys that can shoot, and you need shooters surrounded by LeBron. And he was checking in the preseason. They said he's one of the best. I don't want to say most improved, but the guy they're most impressed with based on, I guess, where expectations were coming out of camp. So he's only 3K, and sure, like if he doesn't shoot well, the floor is low, but he's 3K. So like he's the min. So he would probably be like the next guy in.
What do you have minutes projection on him?
We have him at scrolling. We have him at 24, and that's coming off the bench. So yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, so you put him in it at shooting guard, and then it's like, okay, we have 7-4 to spend per average, remaining for the rest of our positions. So then you're like, all right, well, I'm jamming in studs. And so like the first guy I'm putting in is like LeBron at small forward or one of the forward spots, and then I'm putting in Embiid at one of the center spots. And you're like, all right, now you have 3 spots to go, and you still got a decent amount of salary left. So like that's what I'm looking at is just a flat out normal start to a build. Roth, I know you love when I drop 5 or 6 guys on the screen there, because then it makes it easy on you.
Great.
So there's your start. Because I mean, there's kind of some big contests out there tonight, so you might want to get in on some of those. Yeah. So going from here, I would be looking at, I like Brogdon and Smart as like another as my next guys in at guard. Next guy's in at forward. I'll be going probably with AD would be one if you have the room. I like Tatum as well. One of those 2 guys is probably going to be your next guy in. Jaylen Brown's more of a play on Fanduel. We'll talk about him in a second. These cheap Lakers might filter into one of your last spots, like Austin Reeves or Lonnie Walker. I think I prefer Walker, but he's $800 more, so it's a little tougher. And then center, there's no one that's just center eligible that I like that's not named Joel Embiid. And honestly, everyone else has. I think all these other guys might have power forward. I don't know, Looney and Damian Jones don't, but no one interested in me. Or I'm sorry, no one interested in me definitely. I'm not interested in anybody who is just center eligible for like cash game purposes, because all these guys I just thought like Nunn basically brings everything together. It's like you don't have to shop down here in this range for any other place. So it's kind of a straightforward slate for DK. It's not surprising considering there's 2 games, but that's generally what I'm looking at. I'm curious to hear what Cards has to say about getting away from some of this chalk, though.
Yeah, Cards, talk about the fragility of it being game 1 of the season. Are there expectations that we have that could completely blow up? And is there certain spots where you're targeting that?
Yeah, I think this is interesting. And for those of you that are new to watching me, my microphone randomly mutes on 15-minute intervals occasionally. And if that happens, it's going to happen in about 30 seconds. So Roth did a very poor job of timing the transition over to me.
That was my bad. I'm new, man. I'm new. I wasn't used to all this.
That's all right. It's all right. It might happen at 6:50. Might not happen until 6:30. I don't know. We're still taking bets. But assuming everyone can still hear me through this, I think this slate is interesting from a perspective that the studs are not as much of a guarantee as you would normally expect, provided that Golden State is being truthful. You'll notice that Meansy didn't really mention any of the Golden State guys, the key guys, as being core guys tonight, because, essentially it sounds like they're going to be capped at around 30 minutes. You got Harden potentially with a tough defensive matchup tonight if Marcus Smart's sounding him all night. You've got, most likely Tatum getting PJ Tucker tonight. So the studs are not as much of a lock as what you would expect on a normal night when everybody's up to 36, 38 minutes. I'm not telling you that you have to go out and leave $1,200 on the table or $1,400 on the table, because people will always ask that on a short slate. Like, should I leave money on the table? And almost always in NBA, the answer is no, because you can do something with that $800 or that $1,000 or that $1,200. But if you leave $400 or $500 or $600 on the table tonight, I don't think that's crazy, because it gives you a significantly higher chance of differentiating your lineup. The amount of duplicates that there will be on, zeroed out lineups and $100 remaining lineups is pretty high tonight. And you look at, just a pivot down from like one guy to leave $500 or $600 on the table might make sense. And you look at all these mid-range guys that have pretty good point per dollar projections. We got Maxey, Horford, Brogdon. All those guys are either 5K or 4,900 on DraftKings. Walker is 4,200. Derek White is 4,100. Means he mentioned Nunn. All these guys are going to lead to a build where, okay, yeah, I can really easily prioritize Steph Curry or James Harden, but are they really going to have those ceiling games tonight with Curry potentially limited to 30 minutes? and, Harden having a tough defensive matchup. It's the first game of the year too. I mean, these teams aren't going to push these guys. So yes, you need to get a stud or two in your lineups, but I don't think it's crazy if you leave $500 or $600 on the table. I think I would prioritize Embiid the most. Even in GPPs, we've got him at 56%. I think you can hit the lock button on him if you want. He's the safest, I think, of the high end plays. And then, the Lakers guys next. But Harden, I worry about a little bit. Tatum, I worry about a little bit. Those are probably the two studs I'll be underweight on in GPPs tonight.
Okay, Cards, can I get you to go position by position and just kind of talk about what your favorite plays are at point guard, and maybe talk about some of the chalky guys like Nunn, or who was the other one, like Maxey.
Yeah, I mean, Maxey's pretty tough to ignore if you look at the numbers that he's put up when he's gotten the minutes. And I've mentioned that I'm a little worried about Harden tonight, so I can't fade Maxey because somebody in the backcourt is going to put up some numbers. So I'm in on Maxey. I'm okay with Nunn simply from a salary perspective. There aren't a lot of other guys at 3K, but if you might not necessarily need it if you're underweight on some of those other studs. So maybe you're able to get up, particularly if Beverly's ownership tanks, if Westbrook ends up starting. Like, I'm not on Westbrook regardless. So this is a spot where I think you save, because I don't think you need Curry tonight. I don't think you need Harden tonight. And so you can go, even on Fanduel, I mean, you could go double cheap at point guard. And then again, that opens up that potential to spend at the other positions, maybe leave $400 or $500 on the table in GPPs. But I like going to Derek White a little bit, and I don't mind going to Marcus Smart in GPPs. Like, we all like to joke about Marcus Smart, and if it's a Marcus Smart chalk night, you don't play him. If it's not a Marcus Smart chalk night, you still don't play him. But Harden will turn the ball over. I think he could get a few more defensive stats tonight, maybe sees a few extra minutes. And I'm okay with Smart if you need to pivot away from kind of the Brogdons, Maxey, if you're not interested in him. But that's a spot where I will mostly save. Shooting guard isn't a whole lot different because it's mostly the same guys. Yeah. I do like Jordan Poole a good bit. He's the one Golden State guy that I feel okay targeting. I mean, young guy, probably wants to put the narrative of everything that happened in camp and the whole Draymond Green saga behind him. I feel most comfortable about his minutes compared to the other top-end Golden State guys. And again, he showed he could be a pretty solid per-minute producer as well, especially if he gets some run with the other top guys off the floor at some point during the game. I think he's probably my favorite upside target at, again, either one of the guard spots. You got so much multi-position eligibility these days. The forward spots, Davis and Horford are probably the chalk. One of Davis and James, and you probably have to spend on one of them, or else, especially if you're saving at the guard spots, because otherwise you got to spend that salary somewhere. Embiid at center, of course. I do like Tobias Harris a good bit. I mean, he's steady, but not going to be chalky tonight because there are so many other mid-range plays that everybody likes. He could surprise with a ceiling game if he hits a few shots. He's going to play 32, 34 minutes. He's not going to kill your lineup, absent an injury or something like that. And we've got him, if you have small forward, power forward together, he's about the 7th highest owned guy. At least I'm looking at DK projected ownership right now. So not too bad in terms of potential contrarian option there. And again, most of those big guys are eligible at center as well. But Embiid is certainly going to be the play that most people prioritize there. Also, don't mind doing a few kind of wonky builds. Now, this probably doesn't apply unless you're building like 70 or 80 lineups. But if you want to have like one or two lineups that basically have a couple of the studs from the first game and then bank on maybe Golden State blows the doors off the Lakers or something, and you don't use the spend up guys in that second game, but maybe you use some guys that would see maybe a little bit more run if the game turns into a blowout, like a Reeves, Kuminga, wild things happen on 2-game slates. On a large slate, wouldn't even be talking about this stuff. But I think if you're building 70, 80 lineups tonight, you can try to play the game flow angle And if you peg it right, if that first game is a high-scoring competitive game, and then the second game's a blowout, and you've got some punt plays at 5% ownership that gets some run in the fourth quarter, that could be the optimal thing tonight. So I'd do that in a bunch of lineups. You're not doing that if you're doing 5, 8, 10 lineups, though.
Okay, good stuff. Did anybody mention AD?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's right. Basically, I think you're probably spending on one of the two Lakers guys for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Means let's kick it back over to you. Is there anything wildly different on FanDuel? I imagine it's at least similar here.
Oh, it is similar a little bit different because there's some pricing discrepancies. I have two different guys tagged. I'll go through it quick though.
Okay.
If that's all right.
Yeah.
So I have Poole and White tagged over here, and a lot of it just has to do with guard in general. FanDuel is actually kind of like efficiently priced. So there's not like a bunch of egregious mispricings like we saw on DK with like Horford. I feel like is kind of egregious, but like there's basically, we have last I looked, one guy with a positive RG value, and that's Poole. And then Derek White is only 4.4, and that is a lot different when you factor in salary cap being 60K on FanDuel and the guards position not being great. So like those are my two starting points if you're playing cash games. Then like Maxi's 6.5 compared to 5K on DK. Horford's 6K compared to 4.9 on DK. So like those guys are fine. Those guys are good cash game plays, but they're not like must plays. And then like when you look at Horford, when I was looking this morning, he had some pretty high ownership just because like he's still grading out as like the best play at power forward, but he's 6K. Like now we're talking about, okay, now I can see him get 24. And if we have him 60% owned, like that's so much easier to take an underweight stance on.
Yeah.
At such high ownership compared to DK. So those are like some nuances. And then like the studs on FanDuel are priced way higher. And so you still obviously have to play some of them, but like LeBron's like 10.8, AD's above 10, Embiid's above 10. I think if I'm building one set on FanDuel, my first one would be Embiid at center just because I don't love all the other centers, and you can play like Horford and Draymond at power forward. And like LeBron is 10. I think he's 10. Yeah, he's 10.8. So like, yeah, he's fine, but like, I mean, look how far he ranks down in our RG value. Like, give me Jaylen Brown as like the next guy. And like if I'm building through studs on FanDuel, Embiid first, or maybe actually Jaylen Brown first, Embiid second. I like Brown a little more than Tatum. Just like from a zooming out perspective tonight, just because I like Jaylen's individual matchup is a little bit better, and you get $1,800 savings on him on FanDuel. So those are some overarching thoughts on FanDuel. You're going to be playing like some maxis. You're going to be probably landing on some uncomfortable, maybe one or two cheap Lakers. But like even I was talking about Kendrick Nunn on DK. He's like 4.2 on FanDuel or 4.3 on FanDuel. So just the build's way different. And it's a little tighter over here. So just don't assume what I said on DK is the same for FanDuel.
Okay, great. Cards, anything you want to add here differently on FanDuel? I do want to leave some time for some questions.
Yeah, no, just two comments and then we can get to the questions. The comment about leaving salary on the table is definitely more of a DK thing. FanDuel, it's much tougher to get to that. You can, but it seems a little less likely to be optimal on FanDuel than it is on DraftKings. And I don't mind taking a somewhat underweight stance on Horford at GPPs. Like the dude was a revelation last year, obviously. But again, not to be ageist because he's younger than me, but Horford is, 36 years old and he's been in the league a long time. Like Father Time catches up with everybody. We're starting to see it with Tom Brady a little bit. So I just don't mind taking an underweight stance on him. I think he might regress, obviously, from last year, which to be expected. But another guy that I don't mind maybe being a little underweight on if you're looking to get different in GPP.
When is Father Time going to catch up with Roth?
Never, baby. Never. Still hooping like 4 times a week for what it's worth.
When he comes in with the crutches in a few weeks.
That's true. That will happen. That does happen. All right, let's get some QQs here. We got about 3.5 minutes here. Let's start with Long. This is a DK cash question. Means Brogdon or Smart?
Yeah, that's tough. I know there's going to be like a 1v1 like that or a 2v2 that are very, very close. I kind of like Brogdon just because he had good minutes, like, if they were playing a full game, what you're looking at like his first segments, I liked the rotations he was looking at. And then I thought he just looked a little more productive as far as like initiating things. Like Smart's been the point guard before Brogdon got here. And obviously Smart's still going to start, but like Brogdon has more of those traits, I guess, and skills, like a little more facilitation, and he can shoot. I mean, it's arguable who's a better outside shooter too. So even though Brogdon's cheaper, I might go Brogdon on that one, which I don't know what our projections say, but that's what my head is telling me.
Okay, very good. Carolina guy, Cards, this one's for you. FanDuel GPP, which are your favorite stars to spend up on?
I mean, I think I definitely Embiid still, even though he's highly owned. I'm more inclined to go underweight on Horford as the cheap big guy as opposed to Embiid. So still Embiid, and then I'd probably go with whoever's lower owned between the two Lakers guys. We've got Davis at 40 and LeBron at 28. So, and with the price differential, that makes sense. So I'd say Embiid and then LeBron and then probably Jaylen Brown third.
Very good.
Can I make a Harden case real quick, Roth?
Yeah, please.
On FanDuel, especially because I'm looking, I kind of mentioned this in some sort of content today, but like the two of the four most popular guys on FanDuel are both cheapish guards, White at 4.4, Poole at 6K. So right there is like those are two spots taking up a Harden spot.
Mm-hmm.
A third of the four most projected on guys is Embiid. He's Embiid. So like that's his Harden's teammate who's like direct like leverage off of those guys. So like right there, I think if you start a build with Harden, I think whatever you think of him, whether he's going to come out crushing or if he's going to like, be not all-star Harden anymore, not all NBA Harden, whatever you think of him, like that's a good way to be different starting a build on FanDuel because that is not what most lineups are going to look like.
Very good. Okay, let's see. Pick 2 means on FanDuel, Kuminga, Reeves, Nunn.
For cash games, I would do not Kuminga, and if I was doing tournaments, I would do Kuminga and Nunn.
Very good. All right, DK Cash question means Tatum or AD. By the way, welcome back. I missed you, Reyes says.
I miss you too. I don't remember who you said asked that, but I miss you too. And I will go. I think Tatum's just a little safer for cash games.
All right, very good. What do you guys think about this JTA revenge narrative? I'm giving this one to Cards naturally. His old Warriors team, any interest?
He would only be part of that if the game turns lopsided. Maybe they let him go get some revenge in the fourth quarter. But outside of that, we've got him projected for 7 fantasy points, so it's probably not optimal.
Okay. Mike says FanDuel GPP Cards. I keep landing on PJ Tucker as a cheap last piece, and I feel gross about it. You should. You should always feel gross about it. But is that doable?
Yeah, we always joke about PJ Tucker, long-standing joke on the shows because, he'll give you the Tony Snell line of 40 minutes and no counting stat. But, yeah, it feels gross, but, there's not a lot of other guys that are going to get that kind of minutes in that price range. Like, if you wanted to go risk-reward at another position, you could go to Melton or somebody like that, who I don't hate as a deep GPP play, but I probably would.
There he is.
We hit 30 and it muted
right at lock.
Right. That's just the weirdest thing, man. The mute count is on 1. Wow.
Doesn't count after lock. He got it in time.
We hit lock.
So. In time.
That's how we're gonna know.
After I know what happened before it finally shows up on
and then it comes in like that. What did I miss?
Now you sound like a robot. Hey, Cards, great working with you. Good show, bud. It's good stuff.
So robot or no robot?
Robot, yeah. A real robot. Oh, and he's out.
Wait, I think my mic's messing up too. Hold on. Is my mic messing up too?
Good.
Yeah, I think I got it. No, I'm just kidding.
You're good. All right.
Oh, he's back.
You back?
No robot or no robot?
Yeah, you're still a robot. You can.
Bye, Cards. Have a good night, buddy.
All right. Means we do have a few more questions. I don't know if this was post-lock. Reeves or Kuminga on FanDuel?
Yeah, that's the late game, so that's what matters.
Yeah.
If it's cash games, I go Reeves. If it's tournaments, I go Kuminga.
Gamble says, hey, can we start with FanDuel cash instead of DK like we did last year? I feel like that's what we've always done. Did I throw a curveball?
Yeah, you totally threw me off. I mean, just really trying to throw me for a loop here. I had Fanduel screen all up. You
That's
did
what
DK. I had my thoughts just memorized in my head, and then I had to completely ad lib.
Yeah, I was trying to remember which I usually started with, and I couldn't remember. So we had on your screen share, it had DK up. So I assumed you were ready to go with
You're
DK.
a liar. I want to go check the tape. There's no way.
I swear. It was on DK. But anyways, yeah, I think so, right? We can start with FanDuel.
Yeah, we'll start with FanDuel. Yeah, that's the one we should start with.
Yeah, that's my bad. Plus, it's our sponsor. Shout out to our wonderful sponsor, FanDuel. By the way, if you watch this on YouTube for free, give us the thumbs up. Hit us with that big thumbs up. If your question didn't get asked and or answered, the best thing you can do is jump in the Discord, the RotoGrinders Discord. I will always take questions from there first. When I'm out of questions there, I'm going to go to the YouTube. So join our Discord. It's a good group of people. And
can bother me in there all day.
Meansy literally hangs out there all day long.
All day, yeah. All day.
You can 24 hours a day. He is accessible. Mm-hmm. And actually, if you ping him and he doesn't respond within 15 minutes, you get free premium. You don't. That's not true. But yeah, you can ask experts questions there. It's really just a good thing to be a part of. So make sure.
I heard during MLB season you were giving out false information about me, like how the length of my yacht. You were saying it was much bigger than it is. It's actually, I think you oversold it a little bit.
Well, I thought it was a 100-foot yacht. Was it not quite?
No, we sold that.
Oh, okay.
We downsized. Yeah,
you're right. You get two smaller yachts now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know why, but I decided that whoever went to Chicago at one point, I don't know. I was giving.
I heard you were getting more ridiculous with each passing show.
Yeah, it was pretty fun, honestly. It was little stupid things like that keep me going during baseball season. It's because I hate it. So,
well, there is one. I was out somewhere one time, and I was like, I was drunk somewhere. I was out having fun, and I got a Twitter notification from someone saying, "Hey, I can't believe we get to go on your yacht if we go to Chicago." I was like, "What are you talking about?"
Oh man, that's fantastic. All right. Well, we are going to get out of here because Cards can't talk, and I feel bad. We're just kind of holding.
Is it better?
And we had to leave. I'm sorry. You actually are better, but I forgot we have an NFL show. Devin hit me up and said, when we hit lock, we got to go.
I'm happy that I'm better. Bye, everyone.
Yeah.
Good job.
You sound like you're on the ring, though.
Yeah.
Like, isn't that the show where it's like static on the TV? Or
it is. It's a little staticky, but you don't have robot voice anymore. Anyways, we got to get out of here because Devin's got a whole NFL show he's got to do. It's Tuesday. We're already talking NFL? That's crazy.
Yeah, it's NBA season. Yeah, what are we talking about here?
Yeah, well, anyways, if that's your thing, if you like football, stick around. We do have an NFL show coming your way a little bit later on today. For now, though, we are going to get out of here. So for Means, for Cars, and for our wonderful production team, always working hard behind the scenes, guys, we appreciate you. We love you. And we will catch you tomorrow. You have been